Greetings, folks, and welcome here. The news that's out there as of today, some of this is only hours old, but it brings us closer to understanding. Might there be a time that Israel will be saying peace and safety, as we had seen in 1 Thessalonians 5:3, when Paul speaks of the time of the rapture happening when they say peace and safety. Other scripture has led us to this one point in time right now that what we're looking for, is there any chance of some sort of a ceasefire, that this ceasefire would release the hostages? If they're released, would Israel be saying peace and safety? A couple, 3, 4 ifs there. Some are kind of big ifs. And I'm not saying that this is going to happen right now, but it is definitely building and making its way. And it could happen very soon. Now, even if it does, and they sign the papers, it's still going to be a couple of days. It could even be another week. But they're going to implement possibly implement a ceasefire. Here we go. I'm going to take you right over to the news. Try to keep it in view for you folks. Again, all this is just recent. Israel submitted plan to a hostage deal negotiators for buffer zone along the border. This is right here, approximately a 1-mile buffer zone. Apparently, Hamas has agreed to this. Okay, that's part of what the conditions were before that Hamas insisted on. So that is now there. Let's go over here to, let's see, I think it goes this way. Let me try it. Folks, these are headings. You can easily look these up if you want. So breakthrough hostage agreement will see release of 33 prisoners. Now, I'm going to just summarize this for you rather than go through and read the whole thing. The number of hostages that they're talking about is 33 hostages to be released. And to my understanding, they're saying that's in the first phase. So in other words, the very first part of it is 33 hostages. But it also has to do with releasing prisoners, Hamas prisoners, and some of them are being held captive as women and children, and some are sick, and they're going to say, Israel's saying, well, we're going to release. So in other words, large numbers will be released by Israel to Hamas. So even though it's 33 that they're talking about, if you read the whole the whole article, it becomes somewhat ambiguous. I'm believing and reading now that the first session of hostage for prisoner swap will be for 33 Israeli hostages. Now, if that's the case, again, I'm coming back around again, would Israel, when they're being released, say peace and safety? Okay, let's get back onto this last one here. Again, these are all within hours here. Something that Hamas has been wanting. Okay, guitar, cutter, however you want to pronounce it. Handed. Final. Draft of hostage ceasefire deal to Israel and Hamas for approval. Officials say. So it's coming together. Now, out of this article, what I really want you to see here is that Hamas may be agreeing because of the fact that they think they're going to end up having an end to the war. All right, why is that important? Let's figure this out, okay? As I said, yesterday's video, other videos, if an agreement is made and it's like that of Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hezbollah is still able to regroup. That's what they're doing. It's obvious. If all we needed is for Hamas to have an off-ramp, they need to find some way, as they're losing, to being able to think that they're going to retain the Gaza Strip, that they're going to be able to rebuild. They're going to get back a bunch of those that have been imprisoned that will help them by the hundreds, by the way. So why would Hamas not agree to this? Because here, as I just showed you, the end of the war, that was one of their big sticking points. All right, however this unfolds is not important. What's important is if the hostages are released and they say peace and safety, and that is what I have been focusing on for a long time now. And I said, when we begin to see signs of this happening, what's happening right now, would then that be that time that Paul wrote, about in 1 Thessalonians 5:3. When they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction. Let's just play this out just a little bit more in our thinking. Okay, if Israel should agree to this, how binding, how long does Israel really think it'll have before they're able to rebuild? I would think in a very short period of time. Israel's taken a huge chance, but Israel has said that they and their goal was to eliminate Hamas's fighting capabilities. And I don't think you'll ever get rid of the ideology of Hamas because that's everywhere. If this should take place, here's the other part to think about. There's no reason for Houthis to be involved. They're saying the only reason they're fighting is because of for the war in Gaza Strip. Hezbollah, the only reason they were fighting is because of the war in Gaza Strip. And all of this is about the hostages. If it wasn't the hostages from the very beginning, if Israel just, or Hamas just, broke through the borders and came in with all kinds of, hundreds of thousands of men and started, a war, Israel would have gone to war with them and it would have been over in a very short period of time. Israel's much more powerful than Hamas. But instead, they have the hostages. So Israel, what are they supposed to do? They can't finish the war in Hamas or in Gaza Strip with Hamas because of the hostages are there. They don't want to kill the hostages. But this is the answer. And again, I'm back to just saying, what I have been doing and what I have been following myself, and I understand this, and I feel very confident in saying it, that this is that time. What other time could it be that Israel would be saying peace and safety? All right, folks, that's it for right now. I'm going to probably, again, I'll be keeping my eye on all of this stuff. Times of Israel, start there. Any of your daily, news outputs that you go to. If they say anything about the hostages, take it in. But it sounds like a deal may be on the table to be signed. And remember, that can take a few days. So don't thinking this is going to happen tomorrow or anything. And even if it does, how long is it going to take for them to be able to put the hostages together in such a way and form that they can start bringing them into Israel? And Israel has to prepare its release of the prisoners, Hamas prisoners. So I'm saying all this because actually it is really unfolding just the way that Scripture has told us it was going to, if we understand God's plan. Okay, so until the next video so I see something, I'll pop back in here. But for right now, this is important stuff. Keep your eyes on Israel. Times of Israel is one of the places you can go to. Okay, I'll be back. I'm kind of have a funny feeling the next day or two. See you then.